Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Tigers Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Schulte, and this is going to be an interesting show. I am right on the edge of clipping. You know what? Let me see. Let me see if I can. Because that is loud. All right, we'll drop it down to there and hope that we don't clip it. Let's do that. That should be okay. All right, it is. So there you go. On the fly audio adjustments during the podcast. How professional is that? It's really not. But anyway, I digress. We're going to start with the injury report. We always do. Alex Faedo is back. Actually, you know what? Let's go here. No pod on the 15th, the 8th or the 15th. I will be in Michigan for the next 2 weeks. This podcast is being recorded on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. No pod on the 8th or the 15th. I will post that on Mastodon and on my Twitter feed because I am going to be in Michigan and I won't be able to really sit down and do a podcast at my parents' house. So that is what it is. With all that being said, let's get into the injury report. Casey Mize is now going to be, well, starting tomorrow, it'll probably be retroactive to Sunday, put on the 15-day injured list. He's got a hamstring issue. Kaylor Montero is up for that situation. Kenta Maeda is going to move up a day because Jack Flaherty stayed in Los Angeles to have a back injection to deal with the tightness in his back. So, you know, things are doing what they're supposed to, what they do every year for the Tigers, and every baseball team has injuries. If you don't have injuries, you're not playing the game. There are certain teams who have more injuries than others. Detroit's been fortunate not to have a ton of injuries to key players. Garrett Cole was out for an extended period of time for the Yankees. Kyle Bradish is out for the year because of Tommy John surgery with the Orioles. Spencer Strider out for the year with the Braves. You know, right now, Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto are all sitting out for the Phillies. So it happens to everybody. Early on this year, Royce Lewis and Carlos Correa were both out for the Twins. So, you know, it does happen to everybody. They had some injuries in the bullpen as well and in their starting rotation. So that was why I thought Detroit was going to finish first, but then Cleveland and Kansas City decided that they were going to be upstarts and be stupid and actually play better baseball than they're supposed to. Cleveland is sitting at 23 games over 500, 8 games over for the Kansas City Royals. This cannot continue. It should not continue, and Detroit has to make it up after the All-Star break. And it starts tomorrow in Minnesota because tonight Minnesota beats Detroit 5-3 behind a good pitching performance from Simeon Woods-Richardson, who absolutely seems to dominate Detroit. Detroit, of course, got a decent pitching performance from Tarek Skubal. But what do you expect? It's Tarek Skubal. So, Detroit loses 5-3. Justin Henry Malloy with his second homer in as many days. Of course, his one that he hit on Sunday was a an inside the park job, which a lot of people were laughing about. But you know what? It still counts. So that's all that matters. I am going to be on this beating on this drum that Detroit's going to finish first. Look, if they're out of first place by 10 or more games on September 1st, I'll even go as far as to say if they're out of first place by 5 or more games on September 1st, then I'll stop beating that drum and I'll tell everybody how wrong I was. But until then, they still have a chance. What do you mean, Chris? They're 38 and 47. They're 9 games under 500. It's they're 85 games into the season. Yeah, well, you know what? There's 77 games left. There's 77 games left. And if Detroit plays like Cleveland is playing, they can do it. They got Minnesota tomorrow night and Thursday, so 2 more in Minnesota, 3 games in Cincinnati, a series against Cleveland at home, and the Dodgers at home before the All-Star break. So it's going to be a bear of a schedule. They have no off days in that time frame. But if there's any team that can do it, it's the Tigers. Look, why not? Give me one good reason why they can't. There is none. People thought that Cleveland was going to be crap offensively this year. They haven't been. People felt that people thought Houston was going to be this juggernaut in the West, in the AL West. They're not. People thought Toronto was going to be good in the AL East. They're not. People thought the Braves were going to be better than they are. So why can't the Tigers be better than this? Why can't the Tigers go on a 12-game winning streak? Sure, they've been playing bad baseball lately, but that doesn't mean that they're going to continue doing that all year. So until, like I said, September 1st, if they're 5 games out, all right, they're not going to win the division. But Cleveland is going to come back to the pack. Kansas City's already started to come back to the pack. Minnesota is going to be Minnesota. But Detroit hasn't played its best baseball yet, and they will. And they're going to win this division, folks. I'm telling you, they are going to do it. So there you go. Spencer Torkelson hit a double yesterday. He hit a home run earlier last week in Toledo. He seems to be sort of starting to figure it out, but we don't know yet. We don't know what the Tigers are looking for as indicators. We don't know how long they feel he has to play and what he has to do. We don't know what the Tigers are looking for. But I was a little unnerved by a quote that Cody Stavenhagen posted from Spencer Torkelson a couple of weeks ago when he basically said, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I don't know what's wrong with my approach. I don't know what's wrong with my swing. I'm just so overwhelmed right now that I'm lost. And that's not good. That's not good at all. When he was starting to put it together a little bit in Detroit, he said, I feel like I'm still in the fight. Now he's saying he doesn't know what he's doing. He's lost. That's not good, folks. That is your number 1 draft pick from 2020, who is just not sure which end is up right now. So, we're gonna see. We're really gonna see. Draft coming up on the 15th of July, the 14th of July. I'll be checking that out. And outside of that, not a lot going on. Detroit dropped 2 out of 3 to Philly last week. Tarek Skubal looked really good against Ranger Suarez. They then went out to LA and absolutely stunk up the joint for 3 games and almost blew a 7-0 lead In the bottom of the ninth, they were up 7-1, ended up winning that game 7-6. The bullpen almost let that one go on Sunday. If that had happened, I wouldn't be saying Detroit's going to finish first in this division. I'd be like, you know what, we're done. Stick a fork in us, we're done. Because that's a loss that you just don't recover from. So they've lost 6 out of 7 series. They're not playing their best baseball, folks. Give it time. Oh, time's running out. Yeah, we got 77 games left. Give it time. Give it time. I have faith in my Tigers. Like I said, until September 1st, then I'll pull the plug on my division title hopes. So with that, I am going to sign off of here. I'm going to end this podcast. I want to thank YouTube for hosting my podcast, youtube.com/@TB podcast if you want to check that out. You're going to have to check that out because I still haven't gotten Spotify fixed. I don't think I will. I really don't. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and sign out of here and say so long, folks. Thanks for listening. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can at TB Podcast, at tweezecake.social on Mastodon, at Podcast Tigers on Twitter, tigersbaseballpodcast@gmail.com. It's the world's longest email address. I'm proud of that. Or you can comment on my YouTube channel. That's groovy too. We'll get those comments as well. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Everybody have a good rest of your week. No pod until the 22nd of July. I'm going to be on vacation. My daughter and I going back to Michigan. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good one. Go Tigers.